That's an eternity of basketball ahead of us. Another beautiful steal perpetrated by Todd White. The action continues. A let's go situation here. Alexei Deacon going up against a double team. Jeffrey Moore has perfect access to the bucket. What you saw from that normal replay of that last bit of action was Juan Fernandez actually wanting to dish off the against Master Jaworski. We're crossing the Twilight Zone. That's an eternity of basketball ahead of us.
It's been 2 years since we started the Pasig River Cleanup and Dredging Project. Before that, we were doing the Sulyahan River Cleanup Project in 2020. For Pasig River, Mr. Ang is allocating 2 billion pesos to clean up the river. We are pleased to report that so far for the past 2 years that we have been cleaning up, we have already removed about 1.3 million metric tons of silt and waste in both Pasig River and San Juan River. And we have already covered more than 22 kilometers of the 27 kilometers of Pasig River, and here more than 5.4 kilometers of San Juan River. So our focus was really more on the shallow areas of both the rivers.
Importante yung talaga dredging. Pero mo, 1 meter lang, ilalagyan mo tubig. Paano hindi aapaw dito sa lupain? Kaya yun ang isang problema. Tara, napakagaling ang San Miguel sa tulong para sa taong bayan. Last 2 years, medyo mababaw na lang. Walang gaanong problema.
Hindi pa nag-dredging dito ang San Miguel, binabaha dati. Pero ngayon wala naman. Hindi na masyadong mataas ang tubig, wala na masyado kaming pangamba dito.
Ang mga ganda na collective efforts, we really can solve this problem. Kasi economically uplift the livelihoods of the poor and the rich para magpantay-pantay ayos lahat para kaginhawa for everyone.
We're almost nearing the completion of the river cleanup here in Pasig River and San Juan River. We are targeting to finish by July or August of this year. Our aim to contribute to the community that San Miguel is able to help in the not only in terms of reducing river pollution, but also to increase the water holding capacity of the river so that we can mitigate flooding in the future.
Welcome to Alternative Basketball. We are part of the Globally Ballin Network. And you can check out the shows on globallyballin.com, articles and video projects as well. And check out all their social media. Most popular episodes of our show on YouTube, Bogs Adornado at #1 all the way down to Yoyoy Villamin and everyone else in between. Which one's your favorite? Keep watching. We're also streaming now on the Twitter or X page of Globally Ballin, so you can watch us there as well. Linktree/Globally Ballin. That's the link you need for easy access to all of that. All right. Here we are. It's episode 214. I'm here, Charlie Cuna, together with Sid Ventura. Noel Zarate will join us in a jiffy. But our guest today, it's excited to have him because he was a mainstay in the early days of Santa Lucia. Remember Santa Lucia in the PBA? First few years, he was their resident import. He kept coming back and playing for them and showing his wares. But that came after a great career at Bridgeport, where he scored 3,000 plus points, was the player of the year for Division II in 1992, brought his team to finals a couple of times, had a nice career as well in Europe and in South America. We're going to hear about all of that. And right now, interesting what he does now. You want to hear about it later on in the show. We'll talk about what he does today. He didn't play for Shell, but his name is Shell. Lambert Shell. Let's bring him in.
Hey.
All right, he played for Santa Lucia. How you doing, Lambert? Thanks for coming on the show.
Doing very good, very good.
Yeah, and you can see his name. He's Dr. Lambert Shell. We'll talk about that too later. He's not just a basketball player, ball player. He's a doctor now. So we'll get to that, Lambert. But let's start from the start. Everyone saw you when you played here in the 90s. Why'd you get into basketball? Because I looked at you back then and I said, hey, this guy's looks like a football player to me. So why not football? Why not baseball or any other sport? Why was it basketball for you?
Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, it was just an easier process for me. I was around a lot of guys, grew up around a lot of guys that played college basketball. So football actually was my first love. I wanted to be a quarterback or a linebacker, but I grew up playing against some older guys, which treated me kind of roughly. So when I started falling in love with basketball, it just was a natural fit. But I just remember the day I changed from going from football to basketball. I met a linebacker that went to Baylor University back in the summer of like 85, 86 when I was like a sophomore in high school. He was about 6'5", like 260, 270. He had no neck, just all muscle. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. He would crush me. So I just started to play a different sport. I've been loving it ever since.
It was also a case of self-preservation. I didn't want to get
Absolutely.
hurt too much.
Absolutely.
Right. And then basketball, Brooklyn's a place, where a lot of greats. The greats play in New York and at playgrounds and all of that. Did anybody who became popular later on, were you playing against them when you were young?
I played against Kenny Anderson, who was drafted by the Nets. I played against a ton of Malik Sealy. I played against a bunch of guys in New York City that were very popular back then. Guys that I grew up with, this guy by the name of Ron Moore, who actually was a neighborhood guy that we grew up with. I got drafted by the Knicks back in '85. So I just would have been around basketball a very long time, very low key. Played around a lot of guys who played in the NBA, not played in the NBA, but a lot of street ball legends, things of that nature in New York City. So it's been a great process ever since then.
So you grew up watching the Knicks, I guess, and cheering for the Knicks back in the late 70s, early 80s?
I grew up watching the Lakers, actually. I'm a Laker fan. I've been a Laker fan since 1980, since Magic Johnson first got to the Lakers. So
you've been crying lately, like I have.
I've been crying lately. I don't like what's going on, but I'm a diehard.
Yep. Same here. Oh. How is that? How can you be in Brooklyn and not be a Knicks fan?
I'm not a Knicks hater. If the Knicks won the championship, I'll be very happy. But I was just a Magic Johnson fan back then in the 80s. So, and Magic Johnson fan in terms of basketball. I'm a Cowboy fan and I'm a Yankee fan. So back then, as people say here, I picked all the winners back in the 80s and 70s and 80s. All the guys, those are the teams that won. Those are the teams I picked. But I'm an avid Magic Johnson fan. I just love what he did for basketball. And after Magic, Kobe and Shaq and those guys, that's just the team that I've always picked. I'm going to ride with them until the very end.
So you started playing ball. So you finally decided it's going to be basketball for me. You're playing around with some of the greatest players. And then, of course, the game in New York is on a different level. And then you end up playing at a place called August Martin High School. And is that, was that a basketball place? Would people who want to play basketball go to August Martin?
No, it's a regular. New York City is different from a lot of places in the country, probably in the world, in terms of high school. In high school, you can go to any school you want to go to in the city. So I selected that school because of its education. It was a computer science school back when I went to school. So I was living in Brooklyn, New York, traveling to Queens every day, which is about 45 minutes. Once I got there, the coach there, James Kearney, was a very, very good coach in terms of teaching us basketball and getting us in shape. So it wasn't a basketball-bred school. Some of the schools back in the 70s, back in the 80s when I played were a lot of the Catholic schools, Christ the King, schools like that, which you had to pay to go to school. I grew up in the projects, low-income family. My family couldn't afford me going to Catholic school, so I chose the right school. We had a great tradition there. We won a little, we lost a little, but when it prepared me for college in terms of academically, but also basketball-wise too.
Well, this is a show about looking back, and going back in time. So let's enter what we call it. It's called the time capsule.
Yes.
Because Sid prepared some photos from your career, and let's enter it right now. Let's go right into it. We're talking about August Martin AMHS. So there you are.
There I am.
There's the young Lambert Shell. How old were you in these photos, Lambert? Do you remember?
That picture to the left was a picture from my sophomore year. I was probably 15 years old.
Wow.
And the other picture to the right is actually a funny picture because the guy that I'm grabbing a rebound from, his name is Steve Wills Johnston. I actually got him to play to the Philippines too. He played for Santa Lucia's minor league team in the Philippines in the same year I was there. So he played with the big I forgot Marlon. He played with Marlon Aquino.
Marlo Aquino.
Yeah, Marlo Aquino, yeah.
And we were in this picture right here, we were rivals. We didn't like each other. And we didn't like each other, so we grabbing this rebound against each other. But now this is my best friend. I mean, this guy right here is a guy I would ride or die for. He's my son's godfather. I'm his son's godfather. We're like family. So we've been friends for over 30 years. I love this guy to death.
Well, what school did he play for? The Rock. Is that the Rock? Is that what he said?
It's Far Rockaway High School. It's a school that's out by the beach. He was a rebound in there. We both ended up at the University of Bridgeport too. So we both ended up there. He signed first, I signed after, but this was a lifelong friend.
Were you the one who recommended him to Buddy and Coronado?
I was the one that recommended to Buddy and Coronado. He played. When I played in '93, I went home. He came over and played with Marlon. Then I came back and played, and we actually lived together for a few months before he went back home.
Oh, wow, awesome.
Yeah.
That's nice info. I thought that photo apparently says more than we thought it would.
It says a lot more. We actually show our kids this, and we all laugh about it because at that picture we didn't even know each other grabbing that rebound. We hated each other back then, and now we're the best friends of the world.
And when you were with the Riders, what position did you play?
I was a power forward, actually. I was a power forward. I was a 6'4", 6'5" power forward. Really couldn't shoot the ball, handle. I just played tough, played hard, pushed people around. When I was growing up in high school, I played against a lot of guys, 6'9", 6'10". They just threw me around, beat me up a lot. So when I got to this level, when I got to college, it was very easy. Or when I got to the pro level, it was very easy playing against bigger guys because it was something I've been doing all my life.
Mm-hmm. I know it's a hotbed in New York. We've been talking about it over and over. But so the college scouts, they come in, they're watching high school players all over New York. How was that process for you? Was it a busy one for you?
It was a very busy process because back then, obviously, there's no cell phones. There was house phones. So my parents had a local house phone. Coaches were calling. My mother and my stepfather at the time got me my own phone line so coaches can call. I was a low key player. People would see me for a few days and love me, and then they would. So I wasn't heavily recruited my junior year in college, my junior year in high school. Then I started to get heavily recruited, and then I played in a basketball game called the Wheelchair Classic, which was an all-star game for the best players in the city in each borough. I played for Queensboro. On my team was Malik Sealy. On my team was Kenny Anderson. Everybody on my team went Division I, except for me. But when I played, I was a second leading scorer on the team. I think I averaged like 26 and 15 the 2 games that we played, and a lot of Division I schools were like, why is this kid going to Division II? But I already had a lot of college. I had a lot of college guys that I grew up with that are already playing college basketball. And they used to tell me all the time, if you're going to go pro, if somebody's going to look at you, they'll find you anywhere. So I kind of just stayed at the school I was in, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life going to the University of Bridgeport.
Yeah. What Division I schools showed you the most interest?
It was like Seton Hall. It was Central Connecticut State. It was, I remember a coach from Georgetown was actually looking at me. There was a lot of big mid-major schools that were looking at me, but schools that they were losing records. They were like 5 and 20 something, 6 and 9. And I didn't want to go to a program where you win a few games and you lose a bunch of games. I didn't want to do that. So I figured I'd go to a program where I can create my own legacy. Wherever I went, I was going to play hard, but I didn't want to go to a program where you only won like 9 games, 7 games, and lost like 19 or 16 games. I didn't want to do that.
I'm curious. What made you finally decide about Bridgeport? Was Bruce Webster a good recruiter? Did he say the right things to you?
There was a coach, and I'm still friends with him right now. His name is Vinny Laskowski, Coach Laskowski. He was on me from my junior year. He called me every single day for almost a year and a half. And to this day, we're still friends, and he was just very honest. It was at the University of Bridgeport from Brooklyn. It was about an hour away, so I was far enough away from home that I could still get home, but still feel like I was far away. Coach Webster was probably one of the best coaches you can play for. He was a player's coach. He was the team's Archie Bunker. He gave it to everybody, but he let you free. But he was also about his team and about his family. So it was just a perfect situation. A school that's by the beach. I met some great friends there. We're still friends today. It was just like a good situation to be in. And then the legacy we created then while we was there is still living on to today.
Sid?
Yeah, this photo, this is already with Bridgeport, right? Purple
This
Knights.
photo is from. This is our last. When I was at the college at the university, actually, this was supposed to be our last home game ever. The school was going to shut down and close. So this was our last game in '92. And then after that, Reverend Sun Yun Moon came in and purchased the school and put a lot of money into the school. The school remained open. So this photo was kind of supposed to be our last school. We went out on top, but this was a hard game to lose against a very talented team. But it was a combination of the school closing, us the basketball team playing his last championship game. It was almost like a Cinderella story, but we didn't win.
2 years in a row, you brought the team to the finals, right?
2 years in a row.
That explains the long faces.
Yeah, that's right. Look at those. You look really down in this photo, Lambert.
I remember the newspaper reporter was, hey, you guys are happy that you got to the finals. And I remember telling them at that time, I'm like, we're the best, why we're happy we lost. We're the best of the losers. And I don't think he received it that well because I'm a sore loser, so I don't like losing. So I'm like, yeah, we got this far, we lost the game. Now I'm the best of the losers, and I think he ran with that a little bit.
Man, that's not something nice to say, but of course, Bridgeport was known for one thing in that couple of years before, right? The tall guy.
Manute
There's
Bol,
a tall guy who played. Yeah, Manute Bol played for Bridgeport, and he was in the news not much for his basketball, but more about how he looked, and then eventually he made it to the NBA. Did you meet him? Did you know him?
I met him several times. Nicest guy in the world. Nicest, sweetest guy in the world. Made a lot of money, gave it to his country. He actually helped. He actually, my freshman year at Bridgeport, he actually helped us. We played the Egyptian national team, and he was the person that was responsible for helping us play the Egyptian national team. It was one of the first times I ever left the country. Our first game there, we were terrified. Our first game there because we played on a military base. And when we were warming up and all these soldiers started walking in, we were terrified. So I think we lost the first game to them. And then after that, we beat them probably about 20 and 30 after that. But it was the first time that a bunch of kids from the city actually probably left the United States for the first time. But very nice guy, very funny, very loving, very caring. Tragedy in terms of his death, in terms of what down, but very nice guy.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a story for Manute Bol. So you're playing with the Knights, and then you make waves because you're scoring 20 something every season. That you're there and you make the finals a couple of times. The NBA scouts this time. Let's talk about that. Obviously, they said they'd find you anywhere. So were they there looking for you?
They were looking for me. I remember the first guy I ever spoke to was an agent. My senior year in college, we were the number one team in the country. I spoke to him. And just really put it on ice. There were several teams looking. It was Golden State. It was the Knicks. It was the Nets. It was Houston, and maybe two other teams in Utah Jazz. So my agent at the time in '92, he pushed, and my coach were friends with Frank Lading at the Utah Jazz. I didn't understand the business. I'm just a kid playing basketball. Went out to Utah, tried out. I was there for like the whole summer before they went to their summer league. Stayed there to probably the final cut. Got cut, but when I look back at it, they had Jeff Malone and Jeff Hornacek, and they had another kid named McCoy Crowder, who all had guaranteed contracts. So it was a place that I wasn't going to get a contract for. I probably should have went to another camp. It was a learning experience, but also something that I cherish. I mean, being able to try for an NBA team or trying out for an NBA team anywhere was a great opportunity.
Right, and then here's Noel. Noel has joined us, everybody.
Windows
Finally,
has
Good
updated.
morning. Good morning,
Windows
Noel.
has updated. It's not gonna
Okay,
update
no
again
problem.
until tomorrow.
No, but we're looking at this photo of you, Lambert, and it actually compares you to Willis Reed. Have you read this before? I mean, you probably know.
I have. What happened in that picture right there was the championship game in '92, my senior year. This quarterfinal game, I played in the game and I sprained my foot very badly. So we played the quarterfinal on Thursday night, the semifinals on Friday, and the championship on Saturday. So I sprained my foot to the point where I couldn't play on Friday night. So we won Friday night, and it was to the point where I wasn't going to play, and I wasn't going to be able to achieve that goal of the 3,000 points. So actually, I went back to Bridgeport to consult a doctor. He's like, listen, the only way you're going to be able to play is for me to give you a cortisone shot there was a bone in my foot. So I'm like, listen, I want to play. I came back that Saturday morning in the locker room. This doctor pulled out the longest needle I've ever seen in my life. He gave me the shot in my foot, and I went out there and was able to score up to 3,001 points. And once I did that, my coach was like, yo, you can come out the game. But we thought that moment was going to actually empower my team to actually play better and do better. But obviously it didn't. That team was much better than we were, and they think they beat us by like 25.
Yeah, 25. Score here says 175.
Yeah.
And you're also quoted as saying that 3,000 points doesn't mean anything to me. We lost the game.
And that's I live my life by that. It's about us. It's not. I'm a person who live my life by a team aspect. It's about the team. It's not about me.
That's right. That's right. But then right after this game, so the next phase of your life comes, right? And then, as you said, you tried out. You're with the Jazz, and some other teams had some interest in you. Then you realize it's not like, it looks like they're not going to take you. NBA is not going to get you. Where did you go right after that?
I tried out for the CBA. I was at the CBA. I played for them for a little bit. I went to there was a global basketball league that was going on. Also, there was a bunch of basketball leagues all over the country. USBL was actually going on. I played there. I played the USBL, and then all that stuff I was playing. It wasn't really working out. I was working, trying to play, trying to land a place. I get a contract offer to a country, then the contract would get pulled back, then I get another contract. So it's just all over the place. And not being a national player of the year didn't really mean anything, because unless you're having a contract, unless you're pursuing your career, it was very hard. And then so it was about playing locally, playing in leagues in the United States. And then after about, I think it was October of 93, October 93. I'm actually working at a job playing, and then I get a phone call from my agent saying, listen, they want you to come to the Philippines like tomorrow, like the next day. And I'm like, wow. What? And they're like, yeah, you got to get on I already have my passport. She's like, no, you got to get on the plane.
Have you ever heard of the Philippines before you heard of the Philippines?
I mean, I've heard of the Philippines in terms of just the country itself, the people, just from learning about it, but not in terms of basketball, not in terms of basketball. So he's like, listen, you got like 2 days, but you have to go get a measurement. So you have to go to a doctor and get a measurement saying that you're 6'2". So I said, okay. I went to a local doctor. I said, listen, you ain't even got to measure me. Just give me a letterhead saying that I'm 6'2", that I know. He did it. We sent it in. They sent it. So I was actually working at a job where I had to work overnight. I called the supervisor, listen, I have to go home. I'm leaving in the morning to prepare to go to the Philippines. He understood my story because I already told him that, listen, I'm going to be here temporarily. If a basketball job comes up, I'm leaving immediately. So I had to go home, get packed, flew to LA that evening, and got on the Philippine airline, I think that night, and arrived in Manila like early that morning.
Yep. Yeah. That's great. Sid, go ahead.
No, it's just looking at this, the scouting report on you here as a draft prospect says, good ball handler, good driver, possesses good overall physical ability, needs to improve on outside shooting, consistency, and defense. Is that spot on?
The outside, the defensive stuff, no. The outside shooting, definitely. I was a scorer. I wasn't a shooter. And I think the scouts back then separated. Like now, everybody's a shooter. Back then, there was a score. There are scorers and there's shooters, and I was a scorer. I could score the ball with the best of them, and that's what I was known for.
We saw that here, and even here. Look at your averages. I like the rebounding, more than 10 a game. So you were a double guy throughout your college career.
And look at the scoring; it was really consistent, and really that was really the hallmark of your stint in the PBA. Your consistency. It was it ranged from 21.7 to 23.8, 21, 23.
I don't know if the guys.
Very consistent.
Lambert, I don't know if the guys asked already. Were you compared to like another player before you when you were being considered in the draft? He's the next, like say Mark Aguirre, the next Adrian Dantley. Were you being considered as somebody who's similar to you in playing style?
No, they didn't. I mean, they probably bigger guys because I did a lot of my stuff inside, so it was like almost like a Bernard King kind of player. I got a lot of the guys who like Bernard King in terms of the scoring and the turnaround jump shot. I had some of the best footwork of a guy my size in terms of what I would do in a post. So they compared me to like a Bernard King, quick release, run the floor, kind of a jumper, do things like that. So it was great being compared to Bernard King. I mean, he was a Knick player, and and like I said, I'm not a Knick person, but I love watching him play.
Yeah, Bernard King, one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
But so you mentioned earlier that Magic Johnson was your guy, right? I mean, he was like your favorite player. That's why you rooted for the Lakers. Anyone else that you really liked and learned from, patterned your game after?
Magic Johnson was one of the guys, but just anybody that, I mean, like I said, I watched, I mean, as I got older, the guys like Karl Malone, everybody should call. It's funny because people compare me to Karl Malone in terms of our look. We kind of look similarly in the face. So I get that comparison all the time. Guys like that, just guys that played hard. Anybody that just played hard and played tough and played without complaining about anything, I patted myself after. So any guys that played hard, but to Karl Malone, you know, in terms of my playing style, when I got to college, everybody compared me to him in terms of the toughness and the way you played and that kind of stuff.
Well, here we get to the interesting part, guys. So you get on that PR, the Philippine Airlines plane coming from LA. You get to the Philippines, and this is your first pro stint. I mean, outside of the U.S., right?
This is my first pro stint outside the U.S. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us about it. You get to the Philippines. What happened?
I get to the Philippines. I get off the plane, and the guys pick me up. I thought I'd go and relax a little bit. They picked me up, took me right to the gym. And I'm like, okay.
We've heard that. We've heard that a lot here from the import.
They took me.
That's a 12-hour flight.
I know, but they took me right to the gym. So I get in there, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, this is different. I mean, the courts they don't, you know, there's air coming in. So I start looking. I'm like, okay, let me loosen up. And then I just started. You know, it's like, you know what? I don't know these guys. They're looking at me. And I just started to go to work. I just started inside, outside, pushing them around. You know, I'm like I said, I'm a Brooklyn guy. So Brooklyn, you know, we had that attitude. We don't care about, you know. So I just started just playing, and I remember just hitting a couple of jump shots and hitting this and hitting that. And guys were very happy. They were very happy. I think Buddy and them was very happy. And then all of a sudden, at the end of practice, they took me to get a massage, and they're like, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I'm like, "I'm here." And then I think my first night there is a night that I didn't know it rained that much. I didn't know it rained that much in Manila. I didn't know it rained that much anywhere. And I just remember being in that townhouse and the power went out and it was pouring. And I was kind of nervous the first game. They took me to get a massage the first game. I think we won our first game and we won our second game. And it was like, okay, I'm good. Because I just heard stories about guys going over, you know, play one game, they lose, and they're right back on the plane again. I'm like, I'm not.
Yep.
That's accurate.
I said, I'm not here for that, you know. And then the guys started to like me. I started to hang out with them a little bit more. But it was, you know, basketball wise, of the other places I've ever played in the world, that I actually came home and I said, this is the place that people have to go see, but have to play, because you know, the Manila in terms of the Philippines, you know, United States is baseball. You know, in the Philippines is basketball, and it's basketball, and it's basketball, and it's one of the best places I've ever played in my life.
Who did you gravitate to on the team? I mean, the first person that you became close to when you got here?
Was it Jerry Spanner? That's the point guard, I think.
Yeah. The guy with the broken arm there.
Yeah, Jerry Spanner, and there was I don't know if he was there my first year. June Limport was kind of standoffish because, you know, he had a Nike contract at the time, and I'm like, yo, me had a Nike contract, give me a couple pair of sneakers, and you know, I can't give you anything. And I think my second year around, he finally gave me a pair of sneakers. But I think you know, Jerry Spanner and Alvarez, I think it was Alvarez, and Bone Alvarez was and then also Guzman, I think he's in Canada now. A little skinny shooter.
Yeah. Andy de Guzman.
Andy de Guzman. I used to hang out with those guys, and real good guys. You know, real good guys to hang out with and talk to. And you know, I'm not a person that eats. I'm a finicky eater. I don't eat pork and I don't eat fish. So that was a big issue for them. I'm like, yo, listen, I'm sorry, man. I don't eat pork. I don't eat fish, man. What do you want me to do? And they just they took care of me. They were very good guys.
Where'd you hang out? Where'd you guys hang out here? I mean, when you were in the Philippines, what was your favorite hangout places?
I went to the Mega Mall. That's where I went every day. The Mega Mall, movies. You know, obviously, you know, I mean, you guys know the history of that. You know, you have a person driving you around, but they're not really driving you around. They didn't check you out to make sure you're not doing nothing stupid. So, you know, you know, so the guy that was taking me around everywhere, we was at the mall like every day, and then probably like 5, 6 o'clock, I would just like, listen, go home, because like I said, I'm a blue collar guy. I don't like, you know, and I'm like, those guys understand that that's their job, but I don't really need anybody hanging around like that and doing all this stuff for me like that. To me, I'm just a regular guy. I'm not a superstar. I'm here to play basketball.
Your townhouse was near Bodega Mall.
The town, I lived in Kansas City, which was, like I said, a townhouse was, you know, I had the ability to fly. I think at the time I had a girlfriend. I flew her over. But I stayed in the Mega Mall. I stayed in the Mega Mall all day, you know. The driver would come. I'm like, listen, I'm going to the movies. I'm going to hang out. I went to work out a lot. And then when the guys wanted to do something in terms of a party, I would hang out with them. You know, at that time, I don't think we were really allowed to hang out with the other American players too much. You know, so there was a couple of
Oh, really?
American players. I mean, you know, kind of rival kind of thing. You know,
Okay.
because if you look at the if you look at basketball back then, a lot of the American players didn't really guard each other until the playoffs.
Mhm.
You know, those guys until the playoffs, and that's when you guard anybody. So I didn't really hang out with Sean Chambers. I didn't hang out with the other guys. I think Tony Swift is his name. I didn't hang out with a lot of those guys.
Tony Harris.
Tony Harris, there you go. Tony Harris. He played for Swift, but you know, I didn't hang out with those guys. But you know, there's a few guys I did hang out with. But the second go around there, and I think for me, my first time out of the country, my first pro job, I was treating it like a job. So I was trying to, you know, have the competitive edge, and when I compete against those guys, you know, go hard. But the second time around, I think I had a lot more fun because I knew the place a lot more. It was a lot different.
Yeah. Quick question, Lambert. Where did Santa Lucia practice back then? Do you remember?
We practiced in a gym that was in Kansas City. There was like a complex that had a gymnasium in Kansas City.
Okay, so it's not yet on top of the mall because their practice facility became on top of the mall.
Okay, but I know
I don't know. I don't know if the mall was already around during your first go around. The Santa Lucia Mall.
No, it wasn't.
Very near where I live, and the owner Ezequiel Robles built a very nice basketball court at the very top of the mall, and later on, that's where Santa Lucia would practice.
Okay. No, we practiced in a complex that was literally, but I know Buddy's office was in this complex. It was 5 minutes from where I was staying. You could either walk there, get drove there, but it was just it was in a complex.
Okay.
And when you came to Manila, so your style of play, you know, you played a big man's game, but you weren't that big. Did you think, wow, you know, my skills are perfect for this league?
It was perfect for the league because I felt like the basketball level in terms of level-wise, Division I, Division II, in terms of college, in terms of some of the pro leagues, I thought it was like a low Division I level, Division II level. Like the guys were good, but they couldn't compete. Like you had some good shooters, some good ball handlers. So you could, and then size-wise, you know, it didn't matter how big or small, I could push a lot of those guys around. So it was competitive, but I felt that like there was no one there that could stop me in terms of playing. If they had somebody bigger on me, I would go by them. If I had somebody smaller, I would post them up. So, but those guys, you could tell they worked on their skill set, and they worked on their skills up to the point where they were very gifted in certain areas. But it was fun. You know, I still talk about it today. Like I still talk about it today in terms of the impact and the fact that like the way that people just love the sport. I mean, they loved it, and that was something that was very shocking to me too. That the love for a sport of a country where everybody's not so tall, but this is a sport of tall people.
It's a curse. It's a curse in the Philippines, Lambert.
And they love this sport so much, you know. So that's the part that I loved about it.
Yeah.
Well, you want to ask the question?
I'm going there already. Who you remember who welcomed you to the league? I mean, who literally gave you your first welcome present?
You know,
welcome present.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, hey, look at this guy. He's from abroad. I'm gonna give him a welcome present. So your first hit.
My first welcome present in terms of something good or bad.
Physical.
Yeah, someone hitting you hard in a game.
Ron Jaworski.
Robert Jaworski.
And what happened was it was a second game or third game. It was a third game I was there. I'm playing. And I'm saying to myself, this guy has to be about 50 years old. What is he still doing in the basketball court? And I'm like, he's old. And I'm like, he's old. What is he doing on the court? And then he was playing like an older guy that plays basketball. So I didn't know who he was. So I'm hitting him. He's hitting me, and I'm hitting him. And I think I knocked him down a few times to the point where they started throwing pesos on the court.
Okay.
And,
the coins.
They started throwing the coins on the court, and one of my players got hit in the eye, and I'm standing like, what the hell's going on? And a couple of coaches ran and jumped on me and pulled me down. They stopped the game for a few minutes, and they were like, "Yo, I'm like, yo, what the hell's going on around? Like, who's that?" And they were like, "Yo, that's Ron Jaworski. I think he was
Robert
Jaworski,
yeah.
And he's a senator or something, or was a something in the government or something, but he was like a legend. He was a legend." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." You know, I'm like, I don't know him. You know, hopefully I get to go home tonight, being that I'm pushing him around. But that was my welcoming there.
You weren't far off guessing his age. When you were first here in '93, he was already 47.
Wow.
when he was playing.
Wow. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he went
and
on
then,
to play till he was 50.
Wow.
yeah, 52
51.
actually.
Wow.
But
Oh,
then he
yeah.
drafted his son later on because he was the coach, right? So eventually drafted his son. They became the first father and son tandem in the PBA, but that's a different
Okay.
story.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Well,
Yeah, but that was
talk
my
about
first.
talk about
uh,
yeah, talk about Buddy Encarnado. I mean, your first impressions of him. Everybody likes the guy. He's been like the face of Santa Lucia for the longest time. You know, I mean, when you first met Buddy Encarnado and then you finally get to go into the Philippines, what do you think about him?
Very nice guy, like very nice guy, very business oriented. He just seemed like, it's like like the coach I had to get used to. I mean, he was just everybody was doing everything for the boss. He was the boss, and that was something I was like, wow, this guy has either a lot of respect or he demands a lot. But when it came to interacting with him in terms of out there in terms of getting paid or that kind of stuff, never had an issue, never had a problem. We talked all the time. Took good care of me. Took good care of me in terms of just as a business person. Seems like a very nice guy. The whole coaching staff, management staff seemed like very, very good people. Never had not one issue with them at all. He seemed like he loved the sport too. He was very passionate about it too, but very nice guy. And the head coach was the sweetest guy in the world. I forgot the head coach's name back then, but he was
Not Canson.
not
Not
Canson.
Canson.
Yeah, he was the sweetest guy in the world. The
Yeah,
sweetest guy in the world.
he's the
Yeah.
guy to Buddy's right in the photo. I mean,
Okay.
our
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Now,
Buddy's left. Buddy's
yeah,
left.
Buddy's
I know.
left,
Yeah,
because,
Buddy's left.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was the sweetest guy in the world. Like he was, he was the nicest guy ever. Like one of the nicest guys I ever played for, but very nice guy.
And
Your
the
first
other
two seasons
guy,
here, he was the coach. Yeah, the
Yeah.
one beside him became your coach in the third year, Adonis.
Yeah, Adonis became the head coach. Yep, became the head coach. I think my third or fourth time here.
he's still around. I bumped into him last week. He's
so
an
is Buddy.
assistant coach. He's an
Buddy?
assistant coach with another team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
Buddy's still
PBA.
around. Yeah, Buddy's still going strong. He's involved in the college leagues nowadays, but he's
Okay.
still
Okay.
yeah. He
That's
still
good
looks
to know.
that way, by the way. He still looks that way.
His hair still jet black.
His hair doesn't move, man. His hair does not move. The electric fans fear his hair.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Lambert, your first conference here, that was also a very impressive cast of imports. You mentioned a couple of them already: Sean Chambers, Tony Harris. Yeah, but just the level of play with regard to your fellow imports. So, what could you say about that? I think Kenny Travis was also here at the time.
Kenny Travis was also there. I mean, they were tough players. I mean, I would actually go to the games and watch the games, but playing against Sean Chambers was like playing against myself. I mean, he was just one of those. We kind of had a similar game in terms of the way we played. He had a better team, I guess, in terms of what they did. Those guys are better than our guys, but in terms of playing against him, it was like playing against me. We played the same way, kind of Drees inside out, tough. Kenny Travis was a shooter. What's the name? The other kid that played for Swift. I mean, he was a jet.
Tony Harris.
Tony Harris was up and
Tony
down.
Harris.
And I think I played against what's the name? Parks. He was on.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was on. Yeah, he played against Parks. So with the level of competition in terms of the imports there were great. I mean, everybody was scoring a lot of points and doing the things that they normally would do. You just you had to get the other guys, the local guys involved a lot more. And play that game. They had their own things going on, so you had to understand that old stuff. But the people that was there did their jobs. Score points and hopefully win games.
Parks passed away, like I believe, 5 years ago?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm very good.
that-
I'm very good friends with his brother lives in the States, and I'm very good friends with his brother.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But his
Just-
son is playing in
Actually,
Japan
it
now.
was more than 5 years. It was more than 5 years ago. Actually, no,
Oh, was
it was
it?
like
Okay,
2012, I think, 2011.
Yeah,
Oh
his brother,
shoot!
2012. Yeah, it
his
was that
brother,
long.
his brother lives not that far from me, so we see each other all the time. We talk about it all the time as well.
Sean Chambers was recently appointed a college coach here in the Philippines.
Mhm.
I saw that. Me and him are friends on Facebook. So he's coaching girls, I think, out in California, and that's good. That's a good thing for him.
Yeah, and
He's
then he
gonna
gets a
start
contract
coaching
in the
here as
Philippines.
well. Yeah, he's playing. He's gonna coach the FEU Tamaraos, which is actually the alma mater of Andy De Guzman.
Okay.
So, yeah,
That's good. That's a
Yep.
good thing. That's a good thing.
Yep. He's
What
busy
about the
now.
local players? Most teams, they usually assign the local player to defend the opposing team's import, right? So you remember any of those and the local players who gave you a hard time on defense?
I mean, there's one kid that played for the team that was is it Pet some foods. It was begins with a
Pure Foods.
P. Pure Foods begins with a P.
Pea foods, maybe.
It
Yeah,
was
pea
pure
foods.
food. It was pure foods. The guy's name began with a P. I think he was a big, strong guy.
Patrimonio.
That kid was tough. And
Patrimonio.
him and the guy. I think it was Bong. I think it was from San Miguel or Alaska. The guy that played for Alaska Milk was a guy by the name of
Bong Hawkins.
that guy. Those two guys used to try to beat me up all the time. Those are the two guys I just remember used to try to beat me up all the
Hawkins
time.
started out with Santa Lucia, right? With Presto, then Santa
he did.
Lucia. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Before he went to Alaska.
Yeah, he used to those two guys used to beat me up all the time. And then as Marlo Aquino got better when he got into the league a little bit, the size wise with all of that. But I mean they put some tough guys in me. But like I said, it was, when you play against guys, in the city that are bigger, but like I said, those guys, they did their job. I mean, they went out there, competed, and they tried their best. It was like a great league.
Yeah, Patrimonio was actually the MVP the first time you arrived.
He was an MVP. Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
He was a big time superstar.
He won a bunch of them. He won 4 of those MVPs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's still
And-
around. He's the manager of the
Yeah.
Pure Foods team now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're all
He's
still
on the
around.
bench. Yeah. Whole bunch of them around, Abaria. And all these guys, they're still
Hey,
there.
when
part
was
of
the last time you were in the Philippines, Lambert?
94 or 95, I think, around that time. Probably like 94.
96 was your last, I think. 96 was your last year.
Yeah.
So you
So
haven't,
you
been
haven't
back
come back.
since.
You haven't visited.
I've been trying. Listen, I put that on one of my bucket list things to get back there, just to sit in the stands and watch a game. Just to watch a game, because it's the thing. It never dies. I live in Queens, and I go to this local gas station all the time to get gas. And there's a Filipino family that owns the gas station, and every time I walk in there, it's like, you look familiar, and they take pictures and we talk, and I'm like I'm no, so every time, as soon as I walk in there, they call other family members to come and take pictures, and we take pictures and we talk, and
And eat adobo too.
But that's one of my
That's
things
fun.
within the next year too, to get back there just to visit, to maybe
That would be great, man. You let us know when you come in.
Yeah,
We'll be here for you.
So
yeah.
Noel's gonna treat you for dinner.
I'll drive. I'm
You-
Have
you
a Santa
don't
Lucia reunion.
I did a lot of
Santa Lucia.
I did a lot of driving too. I used to tell the guy that drove me around, listen, you get in the drivers, you get in the passenger, let me drive, because this old
What was
being-
that like for you driving in the
you were
Philippines?
very brave to do that.
Motorists.
I like I said, I'm just one of them blue collar guys, so I'm like, I can't sit in no car for you drive me for a whole week. I can't do that. So a few times he was like, okay, and I drove to a game a couple of times. It was fine. It was fun. I mean, Manila traffic is 10 times worse than New York City traffic, but
It's
the
20
ball-
times worse now.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow. So I
It's
mean,
not
and you're
improved
not
at all.
and you're not driving that fast. You're going bumper to bumper, so it was kind of easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have your foot on the brake often.
Absolutely.
I was gonna ask you about your jersey number 42. Any reason for that, or did they just assign that to you?
They assigned it to me in college. There was a guy that was there at Bridgeport before I got there. He was an all-time leading scorer. He wanted his jersey retired. The coach gave it to me, and then we retired it last year. But it was no special reason why I got the number. Just something that, and then all of a sudden, as I got older, the whole Jackie Robinson stuff and all that stuff. But the 42s, it's been
Was also-
synonymous. Yeah, been synonymous with that number. So, I don't put any extra stuff in it. I just, like I said, the coach gave it to me because I guess his jersey number was 24. So he would give his old college number to whoever was his best player at the time.
Okay. Because you mentioned Magic Johnson, I was thinking maybe James Worthy.
James Worthy,
Yeah. That's when you connect all that stuff. Like I said, I loved all those guys on that team of the Lakers.
Yeah. So here you are, two nice photos of you in action
Yeah,
for Santa Lucia, and that's one of the best big guys who was guarding you. That's Manny.
Victorino.
Manny
Yeah, you just left
Victorino
an
on the right
elbow.
side.
You just left an elbow on him, though.
yeah. You had to. Them guys were physical. I went home many nights. Had to soak many nights playing over there with those guys, man.
Yeah. Now we'll just take a short break right now to take a little halftime break, just to show or remind everyone that we are part of the Globally Ballin Network. When we have some trending episodes on YouTube, Bogs Adornado all the way down. Alan Garrido's there
Very
already.
okay,
Alan Garrido's at number 2, all the way down to Perry Ronquillo. Which one's your favorite? Keep watching us on YouTube. And then what's next? What's the
Spotify.
next slide? Yeah, and watch us on Spotify. Listen to us and watch us on Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating. Send us some love. We're gonna appreciate that. And what's next? Again, next slide. Come
Monthly
on, become
supporter.
our monthly supporter. We love you forever if you do that.
Yeah.
$4.99 or 250 pesos a month. We'll recognize you in our future episodes. And last one is
Yes. Podcast episodes.
yep, top 8. Up our podcast episode on Spotify. Check that out. Benji Paras is there. Noli Locsin. You know these guys, Lambert. You played
Benji
against them.
Paras.
JV Gayoso,
Tim Cone.
Virgil Meneses. Of course, Coach Tim Cone's there.
Yeah.
So check those episodes out, please, everybody. And then what's next? Okay, that's it. Is that it?
I
That's
can
it.
follow
Globally Ballin.
Globally
Like
Ballin
and
Southeast
follow.
Asia.
Yeah, sorry, it's coming late on mine. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
So-
like and follow. There you go. So we go back to the time capsule now.
That's right. Let's go in right away. Second half. There you go.
Ah.
That's Kenny. That's Kenny Redfield, right?
That is Kenny Redfield. Wow.
Wow.
I say wow because I think they got an exception to have a guy. I guess they were losing so much. They had the ability to get a bigger guy on their team.
Yeah.
Okay,
that-
6'5".
A 6'5" player. If that was my first year there, that's a great picture right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. Lots of fans. The fans love that. When they see these photos, it takes them back and then they remember all the stuff that you did, Lambert.
Yeah, speaking of stuff you did, Lambert, there's one game I think you set the record for most consecutive free throws made without a miss. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was. There was a game we played a triple overtime or double overtime. Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
I believe you still hold the PBA record for most minutes played in a game. I don't think
63.
that's been broken yet. Yeah.
It's triple overtime. You played every single minute.
Yes, I remember that.
How did that? How did you cope? I mean, because obviously you never played like that. I mean, you played a lot in college, but you
But
come
not
here and
63 minutes.
63 minutes, man.
It's stamina. It's knowing your team. It's knowing that when you're playing at a pro level. I mean, you got to in the Philippines you always have to score, but you have to get your teammates involved and stuff like that. So I think that day, I think it was just something we're going back and forth, and it was like, we can't lose. And when you're in that moment, you're not tired. You're just playing basketball because you're digging down to, when you went outside and played basketball from sun up to sundown without being tired, without drinking water, without eating, you're just playing all day. So I just enjoyed it. But that's a great picture right there.
Mm-hmm. Takes
Ken
you back,
Redfield.
huh?
One of the great.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
One of the great.
What was
imports
it
of the
like being in the
90s.
trenches? What was it like being in the trenches with all these people, obviously rooting against you because you're the expansion team? Then you had to just shut them up by your performance. I mean, what was that like? That Philippine love for basketball that just stays with you.
It does because I didn't know that. I didn't know Santos was an expansion team. I just know that the San Miguel's and the others in the Alaskan Milk that they just were better teams. I didn't know they was an expansion team. Like me, like I said, I'm over there just playing basketball, and then you start learning more stuff about it and just competing. I mean, once you start competing, all that expansion stuff don't really mean anything. And I didn't know how. I kind of knew after like being there maybe a month that it was very important to try to either get to the championship or just play hard. And you had people rooting for certain teams to the point where they were diehard fans. And Santos didn't have that. But like I tell people all the time, if you want to get a NBA experience, NBA crowd, everybody in the stadium that really, really love to watch the game, the Philippines is the place to be. I mean, I've been to other countries and watched other games in other countries. There's nothing like the passion that the Filipino people have for basketball in an arena. It seems like everybody in there knows what the player do. They chanting, and I remember being called Mr. Pogey and all that. I mean, I remember being called all that stuff. Like that stuff is still there when I have my moments when
You
I look
understand
at
what
the picture.
pogey means, though.
Handsome boy, I think of him.
Yeah,
That's it. There you go. That's one of the things you'll take, right, when they tell you that.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff you can't say here, probably.
The other stuff I probably couldn't say, but I just remember that. So
Yeah.
I remember that. But that, like pictures like this and stuff like this gives you an opportunity to really reflect on, something as great as playing in that country.
Let's
Were
talk
you
about Santa
instrumental?
Lucia.
Sorry, Charlie,
Let's
just
talk.
one more.
Let's talk about Santa Lucia, Lambert. Your first stint here, you made it, to the third place game. You had a good standing in that conference. You played well, but it wasn't that easy. The next couple of times you came back.
It wasn't because the level of I played against bigger players. I think they got rid of a couple of imports at the time. I came over there not knowing what was going on and just played the best I could possibly play. But I think the dynamics of the team changed a lot too in terms of the players that we had there. June and those guys, I guess, were feeling themselves a lot more, so they wanted to take more on. So it was almost like the team was internally fighting with each other. Who was a superstar? Who was a Filipino superstar there? And here I am from the outside trying to figure that out with a team, like you said, that was an expansion team as well. So it was difficult to play with them because I'm like, I can steal my moments, but you guys, I remember one couple of times June Import was just like, yo, give me the ball. Like I'm gonna, I'm like, okay, I'm like, listen, okay, I'm gonna give it to you. You're gonna go, and we're gonna be on your back, but and then they throw it back to you when they can't do some of the things that, I guess we were over there to do.
Yeah, your last stint here, they already had another big guy, Dennis Espino.
Dennis Espino,
on
right
the
there,
team.
right? Dennis and June were like going. They were kind of fighting with each other a little bit in terms of. I remember Dennis, and Dennis was a rookie, I think, a rookie or
sophomore.
Yeah, so I mean, so him and June would just go back at each other. I'm sitting looking at these guys like, yo, whichever one y'all want to come out and be the superstar, I'm okay with it. I just want to win.
Yeah, so it was a case of two
alpha males.
Alpha males going at it for control of the pack.
Yeah,
I guess. I remember '96. That was a really disappointing season for conference for Santa Lucia, and you were interviewed on TV, and you expressed actually your disappointment in the team and said, "This wasn't the team I played for a couple of years ago. I'm just really disappointed in my teammates." I guess your frustration just boiled over because you were always quiet up until that point during interviews, but you let it all hang out during that last time.
I mean, you're probably right because, like I said, I'm a team guy, and if we win it, if I got and I know as an import, they want you to score a lot of points, but in the end, you have to win the basketball game. And if you win it, and I just like I said, I remember just watching Sean Chambers. I mean, he scored some points, but he didn't score all the points all the time. But his team always won, and that's what kept him over there. And I just remember doing the same thing. And my guys didn't. I don't think they understood that concept. Like, we got to win. If you got 50 or 30 or 2. We win in the basketball game, then we're all good.
Right.
And,
that was of course '96 was the year that Alaska won everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they were just bowling over everybody else that season. So,
absolutely.
But that was your last stint. I mean, you came here 93, 94, the 96. You played a couple of conferences. You became like the household name for Santa Lucia, but it ends after that. You didn't get called back anymore. Did they ever? Was there any feelers in the years to come?
No feelers. I mean, they didn't call me back. And at that time, I think I went over to Sweden and played over there in a couple other countries. I never heard back from anyone. Didn't reach back out to say, if they wanted me. I felt, like I felt before. Like if they had somebody and it didn't work out, I was always available. I didn't know if Buddy was still running the team or managing the team. And I think Coach Nat, the first head coach I played for, really liked me. I don't think the second head coach that I played for was really liking me that much in terms of style, but I knew they were sending a lot of guys home. They didn't keep a lot of the guys that they had on the team because they still were probably going through an influx of. And then I think they won a couple of championships, if I'm not mistaken.
Later on.
Later on. So things started to get better. But, the years I was there, they were still, fluctuating up and down, trying to compete with guys they probably couldn't compete with.
They stuck with Dennis Espino. They eventually traded away June Limpot.
They traded June, and they got Marlo Aquino.
Yeah, they got Marlo Aquino. So eventually, so it was that tandem, Espino and Aquino, that brought them a couple of championships.
Okay. Yeah, with coach, and their coach was Norman Black. I don't know if you ever met Norman Black.
I met Norman Black. Played San Miguel Beer, right?
Yep, he was. Yeah. He's still around until now. His son plays in the league now.
Oh wow! Wow!
Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah, he's a consultant for a team called Meralco. It's the power company, and then his son plays for that team.
Okay.
And talking about Bobby Parks, of course, his son played briefly in the PBA, but Bobby Ray, the son of Bobby Parks, is now playing in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So lots of second generation guys.
Makes it feel old, Lambert.
It makes you feel old.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So lots of things went on. So you moved on to Sweden. How was that? How was the
It
stint in
was it
Sweden,
was
South America?
it was great. I mean, to play in those countries was great. You know, you're still playing basketball, and after a while, you play, you make a little money, and then after a while, it's like, what are you going to do? Things are not consistent. Things are starting to slow down a lot. It's time to get to reality and start to go, get a career, fall back on something. Or what I did was just return back to the States and play in some pro leagues in the States. I mean, there was a lot of pro leagues in the States that I was playing in. Wasn't really traveling that much overseas. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting older. It's time to settle down and just start doing something different.
When did you retire from basketball? How old were you?
I was probably 32, 33. And
Wow.
Young.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
young.
yeah, like I'm one of those guys. I mean, I'm not, a lot of guys chasing dreams, but after a while, the young guys have the ability to take a little bit of money. I had I had a son that was born when I was 30, so I had to do something different, and I had to, get a career. So, I played a lot of pro leagues, pro leagues that I was getting paid for in the States. So it wasn't like I stopped playing. I just stopped traveling overseas.
But guys, something about Lambert. So we're talking about his basketball career ending already now, no? And but the thing is, it's his life after basketball that really intrigues me because I was reading
Yeah.
about you, obviously doing my research, and it's crazy the stuff that you've done. Because obviously, education-wise, you did get your degree at Bridgeport, but then you have a master's degree as well, and then in
Two
education
master's
science,
degrees.
two master's
Yeah.
degrees, and library science, and a doctorate of human letter. That's why humane letter. That's why his name on the screen is Dr. Lambert Shell. Okay, that's the reason why they call him doctor. I mean, what made you do this? Why did you study so much?
Well, I mean, the funny part about playing in countries, I always had this ability to work with young people and kids. Even in the Philippines, I would go somewhere and there were kids around, and I either talk or, I would either talk or, if it was 10 kids, let's go to McDonald's and sit and talk, or whatever country I went in, I did
Or
that. So
Jollibee.
yeah, or Jollibee. So it was just like, I wanted to just, work with kids. So when I would finally retired, I started teaching up in a place called Yonkers, and then I did that for a while, and then just went back to school and doing various different things. And I was introduced into libraries probably in like 2001, 2002 to run a specialized program dealing with difficult kids in public libraries around the country. Ran a great program, and that program kind of went national and did some other stuff with that as well. I had a mentor who said, "No, go get a library degree," and I'm like, "No, I wanted to be a high school principal, middle school principal, but decided to do this, and it's been great since then. I'm able to do
Well,
education, able to do training, able to do fun program, able to do basketball tournaments in libraries. I'm able to do a bunch of different things, in my seat that I currently sit in now.
Lambert, just for our education, what does a library director do?
He manages the day-to-day operations of a public library. So, just like you would take a CEO who runs a business, I'm doing the same thing, but my money I don't have to raise. Obviously, the money I get is from the government, so I don't have to go out and fundraise. I fundraise too, but my base money that I get is to run a library. So I'm running the finances, I'm running the customer service, I'm running the marketing, I'm running the meeting with politicians and raising money and doing all the things necessary to make sure that the public is getting, their tax dollars in a sense is getting used in a proper way.
Being
You
being
know,
in the library all day, do you actually have time to pick up any of the books there and start reading everything that you
No,
can?
no, libraries aren't libraries as you probably look at them back then as when we were kids. They're very different now. There are places where you can go. Like few libraries I built. I put recording studios in libraries.
Hmm.
We have studios where people are doing animation and and doing business and doing
Mhm.
reports. And the books are the small part of the library compared to the programs and services. The ESOL teaching people who are new Americans to the country how to read, how to write, and things like that, helping people get jobs, helping people. So the book part of it is very minimal in terms of the other things that you're doing, for the community, teaching people about technology. So libraries are the first to have new technology if you don't have it. There are a lot of people, especially in the States, especially other places where there's no internet. We have the internet service there. When there's a natural disaster, most public libraries are up and running when there's a natural disaster to charge your phone, to connect the computer. Libraries are the place where people trust. I mean, there's no bias there. So if if there's a natural disaster you need information on, talking to the government or talking to lawyers, we can vet that information for you. So libraries aren't what they used to be from when we were kids. You go in there and people tell you to be quiet, and don't talk. No, not that at all. There's cafes in libraries now. There's weird things, and it's fun to be in the places that I've been and be in this business for over 20 years now. To do some things I've been doing has been great.
No more Rolodex, that's for sure.
No, everything is computer. Everything is computer based.
The Dewey Decimal System.
Dewey
right?
Decimal, that's right.
That's in high school.
I remember.
How to use the library.
Yeah. So
Lambert, getting one master's degree, I think that is already a major achievement. You went on to get 2, and then you went on to get a doctorate. So what was your motivation for doing that?
I wasn't one of the. I wasn't a. My friends teased me because I wasn't the brightest book smart kid, even in college. I mean, I did enough to stay eligible. In the States, you have to stay eligible in order to play. I did enough. I did the bare minimum, but understood that the importance of education as I moved on. And now that I'm coaching now, and now that I'm doing other stuff, I tell kids, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm from the projects. I'm from the inner city. And a basketball took me around the world. A basketball helped me get education for free. A basketball did a lot for me. So I promote that. Not everybody needs a degree, but if you wanna make a little bit of money or understand business, understand opportunities, you want to travel and see stuff, what other place can you do that is by going to college and getting a degree. And if you love basketball, especially here, if you're trying to go somewhere, you have to go to college. So you have to learn, you have to get your feet wet. And then after a while, like I tell my kids all the time, everybody gets old, everybody gets fat. You can't jump no more, you can't shoot no more. You probably can still shoot, but you can't jump anymore. You can play recreational, which is what I do now, but you can always fall back on your education to take care of your family and take care of the most important people in your life.
That's right. That's amazing. But of course, basketball is never far away. Basketball's never far away. Because you did become a coach after your playing career. You went into coaching.
Absolutely.
I think we have a photo for that. Carla, can you put that up? There's a photo of you screaming at somebody.
There you go.
Yeah, that was a championship game actually for our championship in our conference.
Yeah, clenched fists too. You're ready to to rumble.
That's the
Are
part.
you shouting at the referee or at the player?
At the player. At the player. And that's the part of you think that you can just put your shorts on your shirt and go out and play because these kids are so different now. So, but I love it. I love it. I love it. Getting kids in college. I love talking to them. I started coaching 10 years ago, but I was coaching, college coaches would bring me in to help me work with kids on their footwork. That's one of the things that I could pride myself on when I, being a 6'4", 6'5" big guy, I knew my footwork. I knew how to open up and do so coaches would actually bring me in to work with their big guys about footwork and how to do things and stuff like that. So I did that for many years. And then just somebody talked into me. I was like, listen, why don't you coach? And I'm like, but been doing it for the last 10 years. And it's been a great thing for me, getting kids in school, getting them. This is a junior college. So this is a 2-year school. They leave me and go to a 4-year school, but I have a couple of doctors, a couple of police officers, a couple of architects. I have a bunch of people, a bunch of kids who are doing great things, and for over the last 10 years.
Awesome. Were you, Lambert, were you instrumental in sending some of the players from the United States to the PBA? Based on your experience, were you instrumental in helping some of these players transition to the Philippines?
I did what I can. The people that I knew, there was a couple of guys that's from the New York area that went to the Philippines, and I would just tell them about my experience and what I experienced there. So if anybody that can lead to go that way, or any player that's coming out, I don't know what the rules are now. I know that. I know when I was there was one American in each team. I think there's 2 now, maybe. I don't know what the rules are, but I told them back then there was one. But anybody that could sit in there or have an opportunity to sit in there or reach out to someone that I think that's a player. I know a lot of guys, so anybody can help go that way. Absolutely.
Who were the players that came from New York that played in the Philippines that you helped out?
There's I think BJ. What's BJ's last name? These are guys in my passing. I forgot the name off the top of my head, but there's a couple of guys I know that played out there that when a couple of guys that played. I don't know their names off the top of my head. I have to. Nobody I know personally is guys in my passing. I knew I played there.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an intense photo, and I like this one
Yeah, yeah.
very much. Any comparisons? I mean, you were a player. You knew how they coached. Did you have to adjust how you coach because the players are different now? The mindset's different.
The good part about being at this school is that if I probably was at another school, I'd probably be fired by now because I don't my language and my harshness, because this game is supposed to be played a certain way. Like, this game is supposed to be played hard, and that's what I tell kids. And if you play this game hard, when you stop playing this game hard, you're going to work hard. You're going to work hard for you. You're going to work hard for your family. You're going to work hard for your community. So that's what I push. And so I have liberties, in terms of I can walk away from this anytime I want. I'm here to help. You have to change, because these kids these days, and I tell people all the time, these young people, you got to yell at them and hug them at the same time, because if you yell at them, they think you don't love them, they think you don't care. So you have to yell at them at the same time, hug them, because it gives them the best of both worlds, because they get so down on themselves about the things that when we grew up, either as players or as people, we didn't really care about. So if you missed a shot or you did something in a basketball game, so what? Like, I had kids who shoot air balls in basketball games, and I would tell them, I said, if we stop right now and ask 20 people in here to come on this basketball court and run up and down and take a shot in front of all these people, could they do that? And they go, no. So I'm saying, so what do you worry about missing a shot for? Just play. And if just play. If you play hard and play a special way, then you'll be a special person. Not everybody's going to be the leader, but if we all have our piece in this team, then we can go very far. And they seem to get it. But I'm very hard, because as a player, I played hard. And a lot of my friends, especially my best friends, are like, listen, they're not you, and I have to understand that they're not me in terms of the way that, and as they say sometimes, and I'm not considering myself a great player, but that's why sometimes they say the great players can't coach, because you play it a certain way, and you almost want your players to play the way you play, and they're not at that ability.
Yeah, they're not Gen X though. They're not Gen X.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really different now. Yeah. Let's look at the next photo, Carly. So that's the coaching stint of Lambert we're talking about. But there's other stuff that you've done. This is a picture I found, and you need to tell us about this. What happened here?
I went to a basketball camp in Vegas, and was walking by, and I'm like, that's Pete Rose. And I'm like, oh. So obviously I walked in, and they were like, listen, it's $100 to get a signed autograph and take some pictures. So when I walked in there, I paid for the autograph, but I actually sat there for probably 45 minutes talking to him. Nice guy. Yeah, nice guy.
What'd you get out of Pete Rose? I mean, he's like the most colorful guy in all of Major League Baseball.
But he played the way the game was supposed to be played back then, as everybody said. I mean, he just played hard. He played hard. He played with a level of a passion of always wanting to win. And you just sitting there talking to, one of the greatest hitters of all time, and one of the greatest, showmen of all time. And it's like, to me, I'm sitting there talking to somebody that, okay, I played this game hard. He played it hard, kind of similar in terms of that sense, but one of the greatest guys to ever do it. So I'm just listening, soaking it in, and just whatever he's telling me. Did
you guys talk about the controversy that he was going through? Not that he's not in the hall yet?
No, I didn't, because, everybody has their own story about business. I understand he can't be in a hall because of the gambling stuff and all that stuff. Listen, I don't have nothing to do with that. I just want to listen to a great guy talk about sports. That's all, like, I'm not here to pick and choose, what you did was wrong or right. Just let me soak in, so I can take back whatever knowledge you're willing to share with me.
Yeah, that's probably the best $100 you ever spent, huh?
Yeah.
I would.
And I didn't want to leave, but it was like other people started. But I literally sat there for like 45 minutes talking to him. It was great.
That's awesome. And that's more than worth it. 45 minutes with a guy as great as us.
One of the greatest. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, man. Wow. Actually, so when I saw this photo, I said, we got to include this in the time capsule, man. There's got to be a story behind this. But look at you. And it's great that somebody took a photo of you,
I mean, his guy, I got tons of photos. His guy, I mean, I literally walked by. I'm like, oh, sweat, that's Pete Rose. And nobody was in there. Like, nobody stopped. Nobody wanted an autograph. There was a bunch of kids running around. I'm like, yo, that's Pete Rose. And I said, how much? What was he doing? I was selling autographs. How much? $100. I said, here you go. I went in, he signed, I sat next to him. The guy took my phone, he taking pictures. And we just sat there and talked for 45 minutes. Like it was like we were friends. You know, I'm like, okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is talk about opportunities hitting you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome, man. But
This is
okay,
an
so
awesome picture.
yeah, it really is. That's why I said I was looking at it. I've been looking at it. I looked at it a couple of times in the past week since I found it. So and then Sid, when Sid came on earlier, Lambert, he asked me, "Oh, was it Sid or was it Aaron? One of our guys in the back." He said, "There's a picture with Pete Rose. What's that about?" And we're gonna find out later. We're gonna ask Lambert about that. So yeah, we're all sports guys here.
Yeah, that was Aaron. That wasn't me. But yeah,
Well,
I also had the same reaction when I was going over the photos you sent me and said, "Is that Pete Rose? What?
Yeah, that is Pete
What's he
Rose.
doing with Pete Rose?" Same reaction.
Yeah, for a couple of minutes, we're an eternity of baseball now. So.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you went on to other things. If you look at the next photo, you've been given some honors in your career as well. There you are, Bridgeport. They gave you something. Is that a ring of some
They
kind?
gave us. What happened was the picture you showed earlier with us losing the championship game. Usually in college, when you go to a championship game, you get a ring.
Right.
So this was 25 years later that the university actually gave us our basketball rings from 1992. So in this speech right here, there were a lot of women in the audience, and what I said was, I know women in the audience. They say they wait for rings for a very long time from their boyfriend or from their husband. I waited 25 years to get my ring.
Right. Nice.
That's a good one.
So.
And aside from this, you're in the Fairfield County Sports Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah. Fairfield County Sports Hall of Fame. My basketball uniform is hanging in the Basketball Hall of Fame when I graduated. So a lot of my friends actually had the opportunity to see that. 3,000 points is a special club. I'm number 2 all time in New England, in the New England area. And I actually hold the record for the most double figure games scored consecutively in a row. I think it's about 135 in NCAA history.
Wow.
Yeah, so I scored 10 points or more in 135, 140 consecutive games.
Well, I'm telling you, Lambert, you still hold a PBA record that hasn't been broken.
That's great.
Rare.
That's great.
Yeah, you're still there. You're still in the book.
Still there.
Yeah, I don't think
Let's
that will
see
be
if anyone can do
We've
that.
had like 4 or 5 triple overtime games. Just 4 or 5 triple overtime games since you played. No one's hit 63.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They've been subbed out maybe a minute or two just to get some water and then rest a little bit. But you played the whole damn thing.
Well, when you're there, you got to play. You don't have no time for rest. I mean, you only play 1 or 2 games a week, so you rest when you get a chance to rest. So put me in, let me play.
But you're still active, as you said. You still play recreationally.
There's 50 and over leagues. Yeah, there's 50 and over leagues. There's something called There's a Masters basketball tournament here that happens down in Tampa, Orlando. There's a 40 and over, 50 and over, 60 and over, 70 and over, 80 and over. So there's a lot of guys.
There's an 80 and over.
80 and over, yeah, guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how slow that game is.
That game is very slow. Very slow.
No fast breaks for sure.
And no 3-second violation. Somebody drives, gets bumped. That's a 3-second violation.
Absolutely. But the guys, they still play though. They still play and so. And
Are they still given 8 seconds to cross the half court line, or
I think they pass it up, they shoot. They don't even go over half court. What I saw the last time.
Yeah, but with all the degrees that you have, and you're far from retirement. I think, Lambert, you're going to be busy for the next few years still.
And this picture, I'm on the board. I'm actually the school that I was part. Bridgeport was going to close down. I've been on the board of trustees there for the last 10, 15 years. So now I'm on a board. So I have the ability to get kids in school and stuff like that. So try to pay it forward. I think that's my life's goal, is just to pay it forward as much as I possibly can to whoever.
Dr. Lambert is a busy guy, guys.
Dr. Lambert, there's another doctor in the NBA named Dr. Shaquille O'Neal. Maybe
Absolutely.
You.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. People, you got to look for things to do with your life, right? After being so busy for so many years, playing ball, going here, traveling, and all of that, you can't just sit back and do nothing.
No, you gotta do something. You gotta do something. You gotta be active, and the basketball, the work, family keeps me very active. Keeps me very active.
I'm gonna reserve this question for later, but I just wanted to know a deeper question for later. But I just wanted to know what's your fondest memory of the Philippines?
Wow, wow. Be the fondest memory of the Philippines. And so many. Like I said, I mean, this is something I talk about all the time, which is why I want to go back to visit. And being my first basketball, professional basketball job, and just remember the people and the passion that actually ran that organization and things that was around. People complain about traffic and other stuff. I didn't feel any of that. I just think, like I said, just to go somewhere by yourself and watch young people play basketball, or go somewhere by yourself and see people gravitate to you. As a guy from the United States who, live and dream of getting to the NBA, to me, that was my NBA. It didn't matter to me whether I came back home and they put me in NBA after I came from the Philippines. To me, that was my NBA because of the fact that, you had so many people in an arena, 15, 16,000 people watching the game, people in the country watching the game. And I remember one time we went to I forgot what island we went to play. And it was like people hanging from everywhere. And I'm like, yo, this is special.
That must have been in the province.
It wasn't one of the provinces we played. And I don't know where we played, but it was like, oh my God. It was like that was like I knew I arrived because it was people hanging from everywhere watching this basketball game. And it was like, wow, like they were trying to get everybody into the play and just to watch a basketball game. Something that you see somewhere else, something you can enjoy somewhere else, but they really was trying to get into to watch that game.
Yeah, to piggyback on Noel's question, I was going to ask you because your stints here always coincided with our natural rainy season, right? It was always raining. Yeah, the second half of the year. But did you ever get a chance to visit any of our beaches?
I did because I think Santa Lucia had something at Subic. Is it Subic Bay?
Yeah,
I think they had a development out there, and I think they have a picture of me going out there doing something out there with them. Back then when I think they were starting to develop or getting some development going on out there. So I did have a chance to do a lot there when I was there, travel and by myself, to do other things by myself. So it was like I said, I can't wait to get back just to see the country as an older adult.
Let's go.
The time is right, Lambert Shell.
As an older adult, as an older adult, get back to see it very differently.
So you still don't eat pork and fish, right?
Still don't eat pork and fish now.
Okay. Well, we'll be creative with you then.
No. But we're looking forward to that if ever, Lambert. Do let us know if you're going to be coming anytime soon.
Absolutely.
Well, that's great, guys. Anything to?
I'm reserving mine for later. Go ahead.
Okay. So we're gonna go in, but that's great. So that's more or less the Lambert Shell story. But we have our regular segments here on the show as we're about to, and it's called the Twilight Zone. And in the Twilight Zone, that means we're heading towards the end of our show. It's like the last 2 minutes of a game. So the first part of our Twilight Zone is X's or O's. It's brought to us by Tuminugan Farm. If you need to relax and unwind, why not rejuvenate, reconnect with nature right at the foot of the Kitangklad Mountain Range in Bukidnon. Come on, guys, go to Tuminugan Farm. Choose from a wide range of accommodations like the farmhouse, the bungalow, the cottage, or the tulugan. Check that place out. All the green. It can accommodate entire families, groups of friends, backpackers, even team building events. So go to tuminuganfarm.com and Instagram or Facebook. Check it out. Book now. You can start your Mindanao adventure today. So maybe we can go there, Lambert, if you come over to the Philippines. Head over to the Tuminugan Farm. Looks really nice. Okay, in X's or O's, Lambert, I have a list of choices for you. So just tell me what you choose. You don't have to explain why you chose that certain choice. So it's a list. Well, let's go down the list. Let's go. Number 1, Dennis Espino or Jun Limpot?
Dennis Espino.
Dennis Espino. Okay. Coach Nat Canson or Coach Adonis Tierra?
Coach Nat.
Okay. I had a feeling. Okay. Assistant coaches, if you remember them. Ricky Cui or Jho Jho Villapando?
Ricky,
all right. Yeah, he's in the States. And I keep messaging him, man. The guy doesn't want to come on the show, I think. Boyet Fernandez or Jerry Esplana?
Jerry Esplana.
Okay, these are your point guards. Paul Alvarez or Bong Alvarez or Andy De Guzman?
Andy De Guzman.
Andy, okay. Now, how about some of your centers? Nani Demihilio or Jack Tanuan?
Jack Tanuan. That's my guy.
You know he
Rest in
passed. You
peace,
know he passed
man.
away. Rest in peace.
Oh my God, I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah, more than 10 years ago. Okay, Max Delantes, Mad Max, or Romy De La Rosa.
Max. I didn't know Romy
Max.
that well. Romy got to the team later on, but Max.
Romy's based in San Diego now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's been living. His son plays in the PBA for Pure Foods.
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Lots
Just
of
so you
second
know.
generation.
Okay, how about some shooters? Jose Francisco or Naning Valenciano?
Jose.
Jose.
Huh.
All right.
You like the
Go.
funny guys. You like the funny
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. June Habar or John Cardell?
John Cardell.
John.
Yeah.
He's
He's
coaching in the
coaching.
PBA now.
He's a head coach.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a head coach now. Okay. Arnold Gamboa or Noy Falca Santos?
Noi.
Noy. Okay.
You do like the funny guys.
Yeah, I know. Toying Teves or Apet Howe?
Appet. I remember
Appet,
that. Yeah.
That's the guy we've been searching for him too. Nowhere to find. The late Rick Marata or Matt Makalintal?
Rick.
Rick. All right. Yeah, he's gone too. How about this? Ronnie Tompkins or Ronnie Grandison?
Ronnie Tompkins. Wow. Ronnie Tompkins.
Ronnie
Yeah.
Tompkins. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's resting in peace as well. Ronnie Tompkins.
Wow.
Yeah. He's okay. How about this? Getting an offensive rebound or setting a good screen?
Offensive rebound.
Offensive rebound. Medium range or post up?
Post up.
Post up. Yeah, that's you. I knew it. Playing in South America or play in Europe?
Europe.
Europe. Okay. Okay, two guys from the 1992 draft, which would have been your draft. Shaquille O'Neal or Alonzo Mourning?
Shaq.
Dr. Shaquille O'Neal to you.
Dr. Shaquille O'Neal. All right.
Dr. Shaq. Dr.
And
Shaq.
okay, Carly, let's show the photos. First one. Fishburne or Jackson?
Jackson.
Jackson. Samuel Jackson gets it this time. The last time we had it was Fishburne, I think, Archie Talley. And then this one.
De Niro.
De Niro. That was quick. Okay, that's X's or O's for episode 214 of An Eternity of Basketball. I'll throw it over now to Noel.
Okay, that question I was saving for this point, Lambert, Dr. Shell, is tell us your best anecdote about your stay in the Philippines. I know you have lots of them, but what is the one anecdote that stands out that will remind you of, boy, I had so much fun in the Philippines?
One anecdote about the Philippines, man.
Just one.
Just one. I'm sure you got your pants pulled down by one of those guys when you were in public and stuff like that, you know. But and then they made you eat some food that you said, you sure this is not pork or fish? It's not, but it's
I don't
exotic.
one anecdote. I don't really have one. I just an anecdote about the Philippines. I mean,
No, about your stay with Santa Lucia. I mean, the story with the guys, that you had fun one occasion or something like that. One that really sticks out.
when they did the what's name, the one thing that they did for me that was very surprising that I'd never had done before. They had a what do you call it? A picnic for me.
Mm-hmm.
Using the banana leaves where you put the food on the table.
The boodle fight. They call it the boodle fight.
The boodle fight, man.
Yeah, and I'm like, what am I doing? And they were like, listen. And I never forget that. And it was the best time I had in my life. They had the food, the rice, and the chicken, and the beef. Everything was there. And that was after we won the third place. They had a big we had a big picnic.
And you had to eat with your hands, right? You had to eat with your hands.
Eat it with your hands.
Eat with your hands. Yeah, that was the best time. And they were trying to get me to stay for Christmas because obviously we won the third place and Christmas was not too long ago, and they wanted me to stay for Christmas. I'm like, I love you guys, but I've been here for 3 months. It's time for me to go back home.
Yeah,
that sticks
and back
out.
then the third place series was like 5 games, right?
It was 5 games. Yeah. Yep.
They've eventually scrapped that. They reduced it to best of 3, then 1 game, and then they finally decided no more.
Okay.
No more
No more third place. Yeah, no, it's just extra work for people who aren't going to win the championship anyway.
Yeah.
But the boodle fight still happens.
Okay, I need to get over there for that.
Yeah.
We'll have one for you, Lambert, when you come over.
Set one up for you, man.
I appreciate
We'll tell Buddy and Carnado to sponsor it.
They definitely will.
He will. He will. I'll take care of
Sid,
that
your
part.
turn.
Yeah, I'm going with a dinner question, Carla. So I
Yeah.
hope you're that's on cue. Yeah, my question for you, Lambert, is if you could have dinner with any basketball personality, past or present, living or dead, who would it be, and what would you talk about?
I would say Kobe. I would say Kobe
Okay.
Bryant, and I'm because I'm a Laker fan, but also, you never get a chance to understand the greatest player in the world, which I think is Michael Jordan. I think he's the greatest player ever to play. But I think Kobe was, if Michael Jordan was a 10, Kobe was 9.9, and just how hard he worked and how hard he didn't care about anyone else getting in his way of being the best. And I think sitting here talking about how he didn't care that people talked about him, he didn't care that he was that friendly, he didn't care that he was this, but he just wanted to work to get to be the best. And I think for our kids and for basketball players who really love this sport, or you're trying to do your best at anything, whether it's basketball or a profession, whether it be a lawyer, doctor, whatever it is you want to be in your life, working hard to achieve that goal and doing your best is something that, a lot of these, especially young people, need to hear, need to understand. And there's an oral history, and that's why I greatly appreciate you guys reaching out to me about doing something like this, because this is an oral history that hopefully our kids, and in your show, that people hear how great things were in the past. And I think that leads us to really understanding where we are, where we came from, in terms of how long it took to get to certain places. So to me, a person like him who everybody truly missed, but I mean, this kid, I mean, he worked his butt off to get to something that he never didn't. He's second best to the best player in the world, but he's 9.99999, and Michael Jordan is 10.
Great,
When
great
when
answer,
Kobe
Lambert.
passed,
Not
when
LeBron.
Kobe
It's not
passed,
LeBron.
yeah, yeah. When Kobe passed, how did that impact you?
I was in actually Philadelphia at a library conference, and I never cried so much for somebody I didn't know. Because it just felt like like I said, as a Laker fan, but somebody that I felt like I knew, I was tremendously upset about that, because, like I said, he was a special person, and someone that girl dad in terms of what he did for women's sports. But it just felt like my heart hurt for somebody I really didn't know, in a way that was very different than a family member or another friend passing. So it really bothered me. And actually, I was in Philly when it happened. I was at a library conference in Philadelphia when he passed.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
ironic because he's a Philadelphia native, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And even the Celtic fans, like Sid and Noel, did feel that impact when Kobe
Oh,
died.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember you. I
absolutely.
remember
For
Sid.
me,
Sid, you posted about it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
we were, and more. I remember just watching his last game. I said that is the best last game I have
Yeah,
ever seen in my
absolutely.
Yeah.
entire life,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
gave mad respect to Mamba after
Yeah,
that one. Even if we
absolutely.
are Celtic fans, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
In
more
my
Yeah.
proud.
case, I'm also a girl dad, and
The
Yeah,
my
me too.
daughter at the time is around the same age as Gigi, so
yeah.
that kind
Best
of
the
that
best
kind of
the
hit me
best
hard. Yeah.
the best last
Same.
performance, the best last performance of anybody going out retiring. That's what I looked
Right.
at it. Like, he performed like, this is it for me. This is all you're gonna see. So, you take that to a musician, a race car driver, whatever you're doing. This is my last day of me doing this job, and I'm going
Right.
out,
Right.
at
Yeah,
a 1,000%. And it was
Right.
great.
yeah,
It was. It was indeed. And this has been great, Mr. Shell.
Yes.
yeah,
But before
yeah.
before we let you go, we're gonna enter the last part. It's called "Hello, Porky." That's the greeting that one of the great commentators in the PBA used to say to his son Porky. So this is the greetings portion, Lambert. You can shout out, say hello, acknowledge, thank anybody you'd like to before we let you go.
Well, I would like to thank, especially, I mean, for my career, all my family, all my friends, whoever been a part of my first. I also, the biggest part I want to thank is the Filipino country, the Philippines, for giving me my opportunity to play my first professional basketball game. It's something I still think about, something I cherish, something I talk about all the time. My career is not because of me; it's because of the people that I surrounded myself around in order to do the things I still do today. Thank you. Thanks the show for reaching out and making me still feel like, whatever I did in my past, it's still great. Couldn't feel so more honored than doing this right here. So to anyone that was a part of my life in any way, thank you. Thank you in every way.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And you played 49 games in the PBA. You averaged almost 35 points a game, more than 15 boards. 5 assists or so, which is great for an import. And
Yeah.
then 1.14 blocks per game. Okay, so
Wow.
you were blocking shots as well, Lambert. So those are your stats, just so you know. That's
Absolutely.
what you did here in the PBA.
Absolutely.
And
I
then,
appreciate it.
you know, and everybody during that time, that's 4 seasons. Well, 3 seasons you were here, but in 4 years, and people remember you. When we posted you were going to be our guest, there was a bit of a buzz. People were, commenting and all of that. So people remember Lambert Shell. You will always be a part of the history of the
Yeah.
PBA, Lambert. And thanks for coming on the
And-
show.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, guys. Great.
Sid, you're going to say
show.
something?
Yeah, and then the comments when we posted that you were gonna be guesting were pretty consistent. They all remember you as hardworking, just low key type of or workhorse type of import. So yeah, that's how they remember you over here.
I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, this venue right here is, I'm going to watch you guys, but this venue is very special. Now I can, log in and keep you a part of it. But thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for thinking of me. It's
Of
greatly
course, man. Of course. With you and
Always remember you.
anybody else who played here that you meet, just throw them our way. And
I will.
we always want to hear the stories. Everybody loves to go
I will.
back.
I will definitely do that. Definitely do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
When things
Thank
were
you.
nicer. So that this is episode 214. Before we go, we'd like to thank, of course, the usual suspects, Globally Ballin, always helping us in the background, Carla, Aaron, the rest of the crew. Maraming salamat sa inyo. San Miguel Corporation keeps us running. Thank you so much. You power our show together with Tuminugan Farm. Let's head over there to Tuminugan Farm. Thanks to PBA Archives and PH Sports Bureau. The photos all from PBA Archives, those old photos of Lambert. PH Sports Bureau for sharing our show always on its page. Birthdays in the past week. Did I even put them? Yeah. Etok Lobo, JV Gayoso, Ronnie Magsanok, Jesse Soliano. I think, or was that 2 weeks ago? I might have missed that one. But thanks to everyone for watching today. Before we leave, we're gonna let Lambert go. Before we go to our final video for San Miguel, we're going to show a video snippets from the 4th year anniversary of our show. There was a party held last Friday. Coach Dante Silverio, Toyota and Crispa guys. A little snippet of that, but we're going to post more videos on our Facebook page. If you want to know our next guest, check out our Facebook page every so often next week. We're going to announce who our next guest is. So thanks a lot, Lambert. God bless
Thank
everyone
you,
who
Dr.
watched.
Shell.
Appreciate
It's
it.
now
Appreciate
in the
it. Thank
books,
you.
episode 214. For Noel Zarate, Sid Ventura, I'm Charlie Cuna, thanking you all for joining on the Eternity of Basketball this week. We're going to go now. Thank you so much. God bless
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
sir.
Have a
Appreciate
great
it.
weekend.
Thank you.
Lambert, take
Thank
care,
you.
man.
Lambert,
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Much love.
Take care
Thank
of
you.
yourself.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
a leader in key sectors so vital to the growth of our nation. Food, beverage, packaging, infrastructure, energy, and power. Proudly Filipino, through our well-loved brands, we carry the flag overseas. Yet we've always held out for ourselves a larger purpose. To use our scale, size, and dynamism to deliver products and services that can unlock and accelerate new opportunities for growth and drive our economy forward. We are committed to contribute to a resilient and globally competitive Philippines, where businesses like San Miguel can use their resources and imagination to expand the economy and ensure that prosperity is widely shared. Today, our focus is on generating investments and projects that will enable our country to achieve its full promise. Malasakit is woven into all that we do, from ensuring that more Filipinos are food secure, have access to reliable, sustainable, and affordable energy, world-class roads, airports, mass transit, stronger communities, and greater economic opportunities. We are helping build the Philippines that can carry our 110 million strong population into a future whose defining challenges of our time will be an energy transition, resource scarcity, and the need for greater inclusiveness. As a company, we have set our sights on building the nation of our dreams. By leveraging our expertise, leadership, and reach, as San Miguel, we will do what it takes to build a better future for all Filipinos.